And on today's episode of the Riderflex podcast, does tenure deserve the benefit of the doubt with employees? How long somebody's been there? I want to tell you a story I heard recently. 15-year employee, management level position. Recently got in trouble, so to speak, lectured, corrective action, whatever term you want to use, because a 3-week new associate said some things. Now, do I believe in open door policies? Yes, I do. Do I believe in cultures where anybody can go to the CEO or anybody can go to the boss and say whatever they want? Yes, I believe in that culture. However, I do want to encourage supervisors at any level to filter what they hear, take it with a grain of salt, whatever terminology you want to use. Be cautious. Don't just assume that whatever the new person is telling you is correct. Don't rush to judgment to attack or correct your long-term employee because of something that somebody said that was new, right? Speaking of that, I didn't say that quite right, but you know what I mean. I heard that story recently. 15-year employee got some corrective action because a brand new associate said some things. Here's what's disappointing with that type of behavior. In today's market, right, the quote, great resignation. I'm recording this, by the way, on the 22nd of February, 2022. During the great resignation, to have a 15-year tenured employee, that is super valuable. There's not a lot of those these days, right? And for that employee, that 15-year employee who's never been written up, never had any counseling, never gotten in trouble, right? Has always performed well, good performance reviews, to make some quick judgments about that person because somebody new said a few things, bad move. Talk about crushing morale. Not good. Now, I'm not saying shut the new person down. Hear them out, hear what they have to say, do a little homework, ask some questions. But when you approach the long-term employee, and here's the reason for the episode, right? The tip, so to speak, the career advice is when you approach the long-term employee, I would say something like this. I would say, hey, Johnny, can we talk for a few minutes? You take them to the back room privately, not in front of anybody else. You take them to the back and you say, hey, Johnny, look, got to follow up on this. My job to follow up. I do need to ask about it because, one of the new folks said some things. So I got to ask you about it. I definitely not like your behavior. Never seen anything like that from you before. I'm assuming it's not 100% true. I'm assuming that it's embellished or exaggerated. Here's what they said. Can you tell me what happened so I could kind of, put this behind us? That way I can mark it off my list that I followed up because I know you would, I know that's not like you. And even if you did say that or you did do that, I'm assuming you were having a tough day or whatever, and something maybe wrong at home and you were having a rough day or whatever it was. But hey, listen, you're a 15-year employee. You have my complete support. You have my back because you've had my back all these years. We'll get past it. We'll move on. You're appreciated here. Not saying that people can't make mistakes, not saying that people can't mess up. We all do. Hell, I mess up too. But just tell me what happened so I can kind of scratch this off my list and then I can go back and talk to this associate, right? There you go. There's an example of how you could do it. And there's a million examples. Feel free to comment on this post on ways you would handle it. But the point is, show empathy, sympathy, and support to your long-term employee. Yeah, follow up on it, but don't assume what the new person told you is 100% accurate, and don't just attack your long-term employee, especially after they've given you that many years of dedication. 15 years of tenure in today's market, I mean, that is a hell of a thing, and you don't see that a lot. In fact, I'll take a 15-year employee who's got a few sins over new people that churn and burn any day. That's right. I heard that story the other day and I thought, where's this coming from? I tell you where it's coming from. This type of behavior from supervisors probably is driven from an HR policy that forces them to crash down on people when HR gets a phone call. All my HR friends are going to be mad now. I'm not picking on human resources, and I do think we need to have an open door policy, and I do think associates should be able to call HR. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we should go out of our way to support long-term employees, give them the benefit of the doubt when stuff comes up, because more than likely, unless you've seen this type of behavior or you've gotten these types of reports before about the long-term employee, it's probably embellished. Okay. Now, totally different story if the long-term employee is a pain in the ass, constantly in trouble, people are constantly saying the same things, and you've gotten 50 complaints, blah, blah, blah. That's a different episode. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a one-off deal where you've got this 15-year employee who has never gotten in trouble, and then all of a sudden a brand new person says, hey, Mary was painting the wall green yesterday, and you're thinking, well, I've never seen Mary paint the wall green. That's weird. Why would you say that? That type of, this is what I'm talking about. That's an example of what I'm talking about. So just be careful if you're a supervisor, not to let the air out or of your long-term employee, not to douse water on the fire of their passion for wanting to work there by crushing them over one little comment from a new person. Not a good idea. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day.